Welcome to the Between the Teeth podcast, a podcast about the fascinating world of modern dentistry. From progressive technologies to insights from experienced professionals, and from patient care to entrepreneurship, we explore the full spectrum of dental implantology. For happy patients and for lifetime smiles.
Welcome to the very first episode of Between the Teeth. I am Nurcan Yilmaz from Karma Dentistry and Minnick.
Hey, and I'm Martin Grobler, the co-host also from Karma Dentistry and Minnick. We're absolutely thrilled to launch this podcast. It's both Nur and I's first ever podcast, so we'll be making a lot of mistakes in the beginning, but I think we'll be having a lot of fun. And hopefully you guys can set us at ease and we'll be doing the same. We'll be exploring all the facets of dentistry with amazing guests, and in future episodes, we'll also have some surprises.
Well, nice. But before we bring out our first guest next time, we thought it would be fitting to introduce ourselves properly. So today is all about getting to know us, isn't it, Martin?
Yeah, sounds fun already.
Your host and our journeys. Our biggest failures and the choices that we made and shaped us, isn't it true?
Exactly. I suppose mine will probably just be about all my failures, but I'm hoping that we'll be able to talk about some successes of yours as well. Behind every dental professional, there's a human, a whole story full of twists, turns, and mistakes.
Well, let us get a little bit more to know about you, Martin. So I'm very curious. Just tell us, who are you? What was your first to start with dentistry?
Yeah, it's actually quite a funny story because dentistry was not my first choice. Actually, I wanted to become a gynecologist.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty weird, I suppose, from wanting to be a gynecologist to a dentist. But I went to go do job shadowing, where we're actually going to look at what the gynecologists do.
Tell the listeners where you're originally from, because let's start with that.
That's a good start, but I'm sure I always love leaving the accent, so it's a bit of a surprise, a little bit, where is he from? But it's from South Africa. So if you don't like the South African accent, this is going to be a very long podcast.
Wow.
But I'm from South Africa. I'm born and raised, and my mom's originally from the Netherlands, and that's sort of where my roots are from. So yeah, that's why I'm back here. And I grew up always knowing that I really wanted to help and work with people, which was very clear to me. And I think if I didn't become a person that worked in the medical field, I probably would still be working either in a restaurant or somewhere where I could be with people.
What a change. I like working with people.
Yeah, you're the same, I think.
That. Yeah, for sure.
Because, we all know you are Dutch, but you're not Dutch. What's the secret?
Of brown hair, brown eyes. Now, I'm born and raised in Holland, actually in the east, very tiny, small village. But I'm originally Aramean. So my parents are from the southeast of Turkey, but I don't speak Turkish. Always a thing everyone asks. But my language is the language they tell Jesus is talking or speaking or spoke. But now, as I said, born and raised in Holland, studied in Amsterdam, stayed in Holland. Boring,
definitely not. I feel like you are a sneaky Dutch because short, brown hair, brown eyes. It's not the usual Dutch stereotypical. So it's very nice to actually get to know the real you behind what we always get to see on your LinkedIn and Instagram.
Yeah. A lot of people follow me on those channels. Indeed, true story.
Yeah. So for me, if we're going to get back to, I suppose we should always start with why we actually practice dentistry in the country. Why the Netherlands? That's also a good question. You were born and raised here, but I suppose you could also be practicing in any other country. So
true.
Why are you still here?
Well, as I said, my parents are refugees, so they came from the southeast of Turkey as Christians. And actually, they came here and they stayed here. So for me, it was like feeling free, because 2 years ago I visited the country where my parents are born and raised, and the villages, and I would never go back there, because if you know,
because it's not safe.
a part of it's still not safe, and part of it's not, how do you say it? They're not that far. They're far behind.
Yep.
So
You mean with rules, laws, technology?
well, if you have a look at Istanbul, because it's also part of Turkey, it's very educated. It's like a world city.
Yeah.
But if you have a look at the southeast of Turkey, it's like, how can I compare it?
Yeah, it's just not developed.
Very poor. No,
Poor.
absolutely poor and not developed.
Interesting. Very interesting.
So my parents came here as refugees, and then they stayed here. So I was already very, very glad that we got the chance to study here. And that was one thing that my parents taught me, like, always stay humble, do your best, finish at least something. They never had the expectation that I would finish university, at least do something, because my parents literally came with nothing.
Yeah, and I suppose if you look at the success you've achieved now,
all done by myself.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of proud of that.
Yeah, amazing. I suppose it's good to know how much you've achieved, and it's amazing to know what your parents had to sacrifice for you to be.
For sure. They worked very, very hard for 4 children. I'm part of 4. I'm a twin with a guy, and I have 2 sisters.
Yes.
And actually, the only thing they did in Holland is just work very, very hard to get it as comfortable for us as, like if you have a look how we do it right now, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's a nice feeling to know that.
And I think you can compare it to your own story as well. Like when you came to Holland, maybe it's something for the listeners to tell. When you came to Holland, the first time it's very hard, difficult, the culture, the climate, everything, things like that.
Yeah, 100%.
I
burned my mouth on a lot of bitterballen.
Until you get to know some people, and then you come in that warm bath.
Yeah, it's very strange, because lots of people think it's extremely difficult to integrate into the Netherlands, but I feel like if you embrace the culture will embrace you, which is lovely, and interesting to get to know the backstory of you. Yeah, for me, I mean, I ended up wanting to be a gynecologist, and that's a little bit because I think I really always wanted to help women, men, families have children, and I wanted to do in vitro fertilization and specialize in that. But I got to job shadow, go and look at what exactly gynecologists do, and trust me, it's not
what you thought about it.
Definitely not.
Oh wow.
I realized very quickly that because I want to be a family guy, I want to have time with my family. I very quickly realized that the hours they work doesn't really suit this dream I have,
Yeah.
So, from gynecology to dentistry, it was.
Was dentistry your second choice, or what?
Yeah, well, I really like working with my hands, and I love helping people. And I was terrified of the dentist, absolutely terrified. I used to not even want to go into the room. The dentist would have to do my checkups in the waiting room.
Well, how much fillings do you have?
Too many.
Confession.
Too many.
Even a dentist has that.
Yeah, and I even have some amalgam fillings, but don't tell anyone.
Oh, biological dentist, put some plugs in your ears.
Yeah. Now, dentistry and the world of dentistry is super different in South Africa. Here you've got preventative dentistry, and in South Africa, when you have a problem, you go to the dentist, and I'm sure that might be the same in Turkey.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, and
you only go when you have pain.
Yeah, too late, unfortunately, but sometimes that works.
At least in the southeast of Turkey.
Yeah, well, my dad always says you only scratch your back when it itches. So I do understand why people go to the dentist only when there's pain.
What was when you came to Holland? What was so you studied in South Africa?
Yeah.
And then did you also work there as a dentist?
I did. I actually worked in a hospital called Rob Ferreira, which was close to the Kruger Park.
Yeah.
And
Everyone knows the Kruger pump.
exactly. It's sort of heaven on earth, you know. And there I actually got to work with who's one of my best friends now, Barry Geldenhuis, and he was a maxillofacial surgeon. And he taught me so much. And I'm sure if you go scroll down on my Instagram, you'll see some crazy videos and photos of the things that I got to do along with Barry. And that was actually the start of why I wanted to do more oral surgery, because he was inspirational. And, you know, sometimes when you have a mentor or someone that you can look up to, you can definitely grow a passion out of something.
For sure. And then after that, you came direct. What was the reason that you came to Holland? Why didn't you stay there? Or
Yeah, actually a very good question, because I actually first, I was thinking of going to the UK, to England, because obviously English is way easier than Dutch.
For sure.
And I ended up coming to the Netherlands with my mother, and I wanted to go to look and see in a typical Dutch dental practice. So I asked my aunt, hey, do you think you can maybe message your dentist to ask if I can come look into the practice? And surprisingly, it was one of the biggest practice in the Netherlands, the Losse Standaarden.
Oh, wow.
In Amsterdam. And that was sort of where it all started for me. You know, I got to meet Thomas Ritra, which was also a very inspirational mentor.
For sure, we will have that guy on the podcast.
100%. And thanks to him and hard work, I ended up coming to the Netherlands and also staying here, which was very difficult, but that's for a different podcast, I think.
Now, just tell the listeners, what was the hardest part of it?
I think the hardest part was probably leaving everything behind for something that's not certain.
Yeah.
You know, I had to come here, left everything, including family and friends, and my girlfriend at the time, behind in South Africa, to potentially start a life here, not really knowing if it's going to turn into a success or a failure. And the only thing that kept me going was actually, love.
I thought you would say work. But
definitely, but love. Yeah. I mean, you know, I was hopelessly in love, and I thought, well, I can build up this life and bring love here, you know, sort of, you know, when you have a very nice tree, and you want to move, and you're like, well, I have to take this tree with me.
I can imagine that.
And that was a bit, you know, my love was kind of like a tree, and I
took my husband from Apeldoorn to De Lutte, so
exactly, that's exactly the same.
So from the middle of Holland, I know for sure, because it's from the middle of Holland to the east of Holland.
100%.
15 minutes drive for the listeners.
For most Dutch people, that is as far as South Africa.
We call it a pisstukje, like it's a very short amount of time.
Yeah, I'm sure that was a culture shock for him.
Oh yeah, 100%, because it's not an accent. And
amazing. The Netherlands is such a small place, but it's so big.
Yeah, it is. And then how many years did you work for Losse Standaarden?
Yeah, actually, I worked there my first year, and after like 3 years in the Netherlands, I went back for another year, you know, and then I went to go start off my own practice.
Oh yeah. So now you're having your own practice since?
Since about 2 years, but I also work at the hospital, and I'm specializing in maxillofacial prosthodontics, and that's where I can actually help people with cancers or cleft palates. Most dental disorders, I would call it.
And you're even having your own course for karma dentistry with Kees Heiderijk.
True. That's another Manic mastermind case. Yeah, together we've got an extraction course.
Yeah.
And it's my biggest passion is actually to teach people and to take anxiety away from others. You know, I know the feeling when you have
confidence.
Yeah. Well, when you have an extraction or something in your agenda and you're stressing, and you're like, oh my God, I have to do this extraction later.
You know, confession today. There was this patient, and he was like, he called the practice, and I was like, okay, put it in the agenda of my sister, because I don't want to treat him. He was a Bruxer.
Oh, you know, that's going to be hard.
Going to do that one. And then I sat down the car driving here to the south of Holland, and I texted my sister, hey, did you manage to catch the tooth out? She was like, yeah, it was an easy one. I was like, wow. How did you get to manage that in a boxer? I was like, I don't want to treat
Hey, sorry, you followed our course. You should be really good at
I
doing
know,
this.
I
What is
know.
going on? What is going on?
Yeah, and
You
the
have to
most
do a
awful
revision.
part, and the most awful part of it is that I'm even doing implantology. So out of everyone, I would know how to do it.
Yeah, but this is
Sometimes you just
this is a good point. I mean, this is a good point. Sometimes you have some anxiety. You're
Yeah.
like, oh my goodness, it's going to be very difficult, and is this going to go well? And you don't want to disappoint someone. And yeah, that's why I love teaching.
Yeah.
It's because I want to take that away from people.
Yeah.
But tell us about yourself, because now you started confessing already.
Well, where should I start? I studied for 5 years in Amsterdam.
Yeah.
And then I always had the utopia that I would work there. But then I went back to the east of Holland, started out working in the general practice. And there I got to know this dentist, like my mentor, Hein de Bond. And he took me by the hand. And at that time, he was part of an organization that held courses and events and congresses.
Yeah, so that's actually a good point.
Yeah, it is.
In both of our stories, we actually already started out with
a
get
mentor.
yourself a mentor.
Exactly. So tip for every listener, find yourself a mentor. And actually, I got into the scene of the dentistry on the higher levels. I got to know Jappe Buijs in Groningen, and I got to know Hans Beekmans in the east of Holland. For the Dutch listeners, he was one of the starters as well from the Dutch Academy of Aesthetic Dentistry. And then all of a sudden, Hans was like, yeah, are you willing to come work for me? Because Marco Gresnet by that time was asking around for some students or persons that would
these are some big names.
Yeah,
the girls name dropping.
Yeah, I know. And then he was like, yeah, Hans Beekmans needs a new employer or employees, and I think it might be suitable for you. So would it be something for you to do? And I was like, yeah, why not? Let's go and hit it.
Was it a stressful time working at a big practice like that? Because I can imagine.
Well, the name is very big, so it's very stressful, but you start like Hans is Hans, and you start like scratching calculus from teeth on the microscope because he wants you to be an expert on using your instrument before you start using your burrs, even though you're already a general dentist for, I think I was already 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
and
so he wants you to just go all the way back to the basics.
Exactly, back to the basics. And by that time, I got to learn Schultz-Makers as well. And he was like, he came from Switzerland, and he was a reconstructive dentist. And he came to Holland with an idea, and he wanted to drop it here. Actually, he wanted to start at the university, but he couldn't do it. I don't know. There was some political issues.
We need to invite you so we can ask this.
For sure. I think there was some political issues, and so he started his own course, and I was the first one ever that signed in. And then when I signed in, he was like, okay, I want you to be on the course. And then I came there, did the course for half a year, and he was like, okay, I want you to become an employee here.
Employee, yeah.
Yeah, so together with working at the practice of Hans Beekmans, I also worked at the practice of Schultz-Makers.
Were those two very different worlds?
Well, the thing is, like, Hans Beekmans is literally microscopic dentistry. So there's the part where I learned the microscopic world. And then Schultz-Makers had a helicopter view because he was like a reconstructive dentist. So he had to learn about jaw relation, tooth position and wear and that kind of stuff. So I had to combine both of two worlds. So it was the perfect match for me. And at Schultz-Makers practice, he was like, okay, when you're an employee of my practice, I want you to become a member of the NVVT, the Dutch Society for Restorative Dentistry. And after that, you're going to be part of the APA, the European Prosto Association. So you're going to get both of your degrees. So you need to do examinations. So said that, I literally got my degrees in 2019 and I guess 2021 by head. And now it's 225. And since 2018, I have my own clinic in Enschede as a reconstructive dentist. So it was by that time I had a business coach and a life coach teaching me about body being balance and business. Yeah. That was the life coach. And he decided it was time, together with me, of course,
so you'd say you would suggest a life coach, actually?
Yeah, well, actually, if you want to start a business, then find a business coach. But if you're like seeking around how to balance, because we all know how hard work it is as a dentist,
Yeah.
especially when you're a dentist with your own clinic. It's not 9 to 5. So in order to balance body, being, business, and balance, and I know the people that are listening and knowing me, they know I'm addicted to sports as well. So body is also a very big part of my life.
But this is nice. I mean, you've been mentioning everything in balance and etc. etc. But where does love fit into it?
Yeah, well,
because we do know you've got a very good
I know.
business partner.
Yeah, I do, because since a few years ago that I started my own practice, my husband was literally my before, my after, my left, my right, my upper, my lower, everything. Because during that time I had to do my specialization, and we also started my first dental practice, and he managed to do everything from A to Z with the advocates, with everyone that was part of the whole project. And since a year, we bought a new practice. So we're going to move to a new building. It's going to be way bigger and more comfortable and more clinically wise.
Oh, nice.
And I still can focus on what I'm good at, and that's dentistry. So he managed to do everything around it. So I'm so thankful.
Yeah, I think that's a very good tip as well. I think that you need a really good basis. I would say a good business partner. I mean,
For sure.
starting out a clinic together, you need someone you can trust, you know.
Yeah, you rely on, and like, even for instance, the colors on the walls, like he's discussing all these things with the architect, and then they come back at me, and then just, oh, here, Nur, you have 2 colors. This is what we decided. So you're going to give the final call. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. So
Amazing,
it
amazing.
only takes me 10 seconds to do to make every decision.
That's communication. I mean, it comes
For
down
sure.
to how do you guys communicate, and what are your, you know, I mean, we can turn this into a dating podcast.
Yeah. I should invite him too, because obviously it's not easy. It's difficult. We had some relationship therapy sessions too, because you have these questions like, for instance, I don't have children.
Yeah.
And the fact that I don't have children is a very...
I think also a stressful thing about being a woman, right?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm
for
not a woman, so
sure.
I'm not going to
For sure.
make an opinion about it. But I mean,
And having a career.
Yeah. I mean, you hear that a lot. I mean, I know for myself, you know, you're not even married for a while, and then people will say to you, "Oh, so when are the kids coming?"
Exactly.
You know, it's a lot of pressure, and
It is.
And, it's always important, because we sometimes forget that we're not robots. We're also people.
is.
We have a family. We've got friends. We've got business partners.
Besides that, you're not just a dentist. You're a dentist. You're an owner of a dental practice, and you're a husband. You're a family guy. You're the child of parents. Name it, whatever you want. But
it's a good point, and I think that's something that I hope that we'll be able to get across to our listeners, that you need to wear a lot of hats, and
for sure.
you need to sort of learn how to manage the percentage of what time you spend doing dentistry, what time you spend doing what you love. What makes you successful, because we got a lot of friends that are extremely successful in dentistry. I mean, we have guys like Erik Martin de Beer. Sometimes we talk to them, we're like, when do you guys sleep?
Marco,
when are you sleeping?
Not.
No.
We should invite them too. Man, we have got a long list to go.
We're gonna have to do it. But I feel like a good thing. Let's go quickly into the reason. This lovely stories. Both of us come from a whole different world, different backgrounds. But why implantology? Why?
Yeah, well, actually, like I said, at the time that I was working at Sjoerdsmekens, or I was educated at his practice, I got to learn about jaw relation, tooth position, and then the wear part. So the final step in that is that when you want to place implants, you want to do it in a balanced mouth. So you need canine guidance, a healthy mouth, etc., etc. So I got to learn all these facets. And then this last little part was implantology. Okay, besides microsurgery. And then I got like, okay, if I do all these steps, even though literally the easy parts of ortho, and I have a very good orthodontist where I work with, Matthew Viranto, he does the difficult patients, and then the easier ones I do them myself, and I plan everything, I execute everything, just that part not. So since a few years I started doing the implant academy of Eer van Appels, and
Yeah, I think that's a good point, what you're saying. I mean, you don't per se have this passion to just be an implantologist.
No, for sure
But you
not.
have this passion to treat a patient holistically
And
from A to Z. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. And I mean, that's got more than just the benefit of the patient. I mean, it's got a benefit because you can keep the patient in your own practice.
Exactly.
You don't have to refer.
Exactly.
Not that there's anything wrong with referring, but it's nice to have the control.
Yeah, but the most important thing is that because the fact that you're thinking from a reconstructive point of view, you're always finding a solution how to balance or give balance back in that mouth. Instead of someone's losing the teeth, there's a lot of crooked teeth. You even have a class 2 relationship or whatever. And then still, we all know them, colleagues of us place the implants.
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. I mean, a little secret is I also actually followed a course from Schutzmakens.
Yeah.
I mean, I started a little bit different to you because you came from more from a restorative point of view. I actually started more on the surgery, and then I wanted to learn more about restorative dentistry. So I actually followed restorative courses to back up my implantology, just like you did. And from that point, I then went to clear aligners.
Yeah, wow, that's good.
So basically the same, but the
other way around.
of you.
Yeah.
But I can admit that I've placed a lot of implants in mouths where I'm like, I shouldn't be placing an implant here. And I mean, that's why I made a joke in the beginning about all my failures, but I think I have a lot of them. But I feel like without the failures, I wouldn't be able to do what I do now.
Yeah, but even though if you had the decision to do it right now, you even wanted to do it because you know what the risks are. If the patient knows them.
Yeah,
so now you can inform the patient about the situation in their mouth and then don't give the guarantee that it will last for 20 or 30 or 40 years, whatever it might be.
True. That's a good topic for one of our podcasts, actually, from how long should an implant last? Because, I mean, what really is expected of us? Why do patients expect an implant to last forever? Because that's the kind of logic that we get all the time. It's a good topic.
It's a very good one.
Well, I'm very impressed to hear your background, and it's awesome to hear why you ended up going for implantology. But just a quick one: what implant do you use?
Megagen. From the start. And what do you use?
I'm not going to say.
You're not going to say. Okay, we can.
No, I actually started with Southern Implants, which is obviously a South African brand.
Yeah.
Amazing implant system. Got a really crazy co-axis implant, and that really sparked my interest a lot. And from that on, I moved over to Tommen implants.
Oh yeah, Tommen Medical.
Yeah, then I went to Straumann, and look, I'm a simple guy. You know, I need straightforward. I need easy. I need 1, 2, 3, not a kit with this and a kit with that. It just doesn't work in my hands. And it's amazing implant system, both Tommen and Straumann. But for me, I also use Megagen.
Yeah.
I love the safety it gave me, you know. I take out a lot of teeth, so I love putting teeth back.
Yeah.
And so I love immediate...
That's a very rigid system, and it works in our hands. I think it doesn't matter what kind of system you use, as long as it works in your hands.
100%.
And in this one, it works in my hands, so...
yeah.
And you know, the most beautiful... We started the conversation by being told that we had mentors.
Yeah.
Now, well, in this part, we also have mentors. So I have my mentors. I have Hakon Kuit. I have Irfan Abbas. I have Jappe Buijs for the implantology part. So that's very nice to have all these people around you, because then you have a backbone. So as long as the system is rigid and you can discuss these failures or successes with these people, then you at least know, okay, they're using the same system, or maybe they have used the same system. And then you can dig deeper into how do you want to plan it, how do you want to do it, how do you want to execute it, etc.
100%. And I mean, that's a nice way and a nice place to actually finish off this talk, I think.
Yes.
Is the whole idea for this whole podcast is for us to give you guys a sort of virtual mentor.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to invite a lot of guests. We're going to bring people on here that you can listen to their stories. You can maybe indirectly get a mentor, get some tips, some tricks.
Okay, Martin, if I ask you, 2 last tips for the listeners.
2 tips. And what kind of tips do you need? Do you need cooking tips? Because I'm a great
No,
cook.
it doesn't even matter. Whatever tip you have.
I think the first tip is
take home messages.
Communicate well. I think the most important thing, it will prevent failures in treatment planning, prevent failures with your lab, failures with your patient, with your partner, with the love of your life,
with whoever,
with everyone. Communicate.
And
don't get upset. Just communicate. And the second tip is just don't give up. Just every single time you get broken into pieces, just
stand up.
Just go. Just keep on going. Just nothing in this world is stronger and better than.
It's very funny that you're saying this, because on Instagram today I saw this story.
Yeah.
Telling about children when they start doing their first steps before walking.
Yeah.
They fall, they step up, they fall, they step up until they can walk.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, it's so true.
Never give up.
Just
because eventually everyone's going to walk.
I mean, it's so cliche, obviously, to say never give up, because it sounds easier than everything. But I mean, giving up is easier than not giving up, you know?
True.
And
so let me think if I can have 2 take-home messages. I think probably the first one would be find yourself mentors inside of the field. And the second one would be definitely find yourself a life and a business coach in order to balance everything the right way.
Yeah. Well, and
I didn't even start talking about breath work and that kind of stuff, because I think it's all part of it.
But that's what's going to be a whole nice topic for us to go into. And I think what we can end, and our final word for today needs to be balance.
Balance.
So
let's finish up with that one. Thank you for listening to Between the Teeth. We hope you enjoyed today's discussion and gained some valuable insights. If you found this episode helpful, please subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and share with your colleagues in the dental community. Join us next time when we'll be speaking with our first and second and third and the next guests. Until then, keep smiling and remember, there's more happening in your mouth than you think. This is Nurcan Yilmaz and Martin Grobler signing off.